Chapter 5. Part 3. At noon the boat gathered the company's staff. They could not delay the departure of their troops any longer. As usual with him, everything was perfectly organized. When they arrived at the meeting, they found a huge map of the Dragon's Ridge presiding over the table. On the map, through a series of miniatures, the strategic points and the possible settlement of the enemy troops were indicated. Arian accompanied the captains in the meeting. Kritos was present as a counselor, being a dwarf, albeit from the hills, he could help predict the steps of his cousins. Debok began with the explanations. It is clear that we have three threats: in the north the dwarfs of the Dragon Ridge, in the south Albiona with his armies, and in the west Scythia. Scythia has never had a large army, commented Arras. You know it's forbidden, but the story is that Albiona has bought the services of the best mercenary companies in Almera to support Scythia's army. So we have three fronts to control. Indeed, they outnumber us and we have to divide our forces. Once we disembark and arrive in Demember, the plan will be to leave Agnoruk in the north at the Red Mines. Push to Kazmin, there you can defend the southern border. Silke, you will place yourself in the center of the kingdom, you will support those who need it most. Loranthas and Arras to the southwest, you will watch both the south and the west. Arras, I think you will focus on the Black Castle, while Loranthas you will be in the royal palace. For my part, I will stay in the north, Minas Dakar. I will be able to support you in case of need. Everyone made the precise notes. Agnoruk was a bit clueless. At least he would have the help of Kritos, Sabu, and Gosberg. He would have to face the dwarven army and was not used to fighting in underground galleries. On the same day, Mulak returned from his visit to the Black Empire, and Arian organized a dinner with all the members of the company who had participated in the adventure of recovering the Blue Jewel of Caesarea. It was the eve of the first mercenaries embarking. Arras together with Loranthas would lead the first troops. Everything was ready. The dinner was pleasant. They recalled past, common, and solo adventures. Gosberg as always was the center of attention. The dinner was held on a large terrace that the company had, where Sabu could sit. The evening lasted beyond the early morning. They enjoyed their last days of peace. While Ariana dozed under Vanus' arms, Kritos rested her eyes. Mulak recounted his visit to the Golden Plains. He visited his father Elak, the uncle of Arras, king of the tribe of the Black Orcs. On the Golden Plains things were stable, although resentment against the emperor continued. The death of Arabicaras and his legions had not been forgotten, but Elak accepted Mulak's communication with resignation. What communication? Agnoruk asked. Arian took Arras by the hand, who finally spoke about a decision that had already been made. I have come to terms with the emperor. I will renounce my rights, and I will recognize the present king of the Sinafti. How? He is a traitor. Not even dry troll shit is worth it. I know, but Arian has made me reconsider. Going back to the Golden Plains wouldn't solve anything, it would only complicate things more. In return, the emperor will pardon the cousins of Arras who will be able to return to the Golden Plains with their family. When Arras renounces their rights, they are free of their promise. Arian completed her husband's sentence. I don't get it. The truth. Arian has a more important job than a simple orcish power struggle. He must restore the cult of Elaban throughout Shanaris. Arras sentenced. To re-establish the cult of Elaban, Agnoruk turned his head to see how Gosberg snored drunk lost, then muttered something in a low voice sullenly. Arian tried to reassure the half-orc, who felt deceived. You didn't come back by chance, you had 3 years left on your contract, which is left for the rest of us. Once that period is over, we will all leave the company. Did you know this, Kush? Agnoruk asked the magician to make sure that what he heard was really true. The wizard smiled slightly, seeming to wait for the half-orc's reaction, as he took a drag on his pipe to try to soften the tone of the conversation. Yes, he was present when we broke the news to Debok. He almost fainted. but he accepted it, he had no choice. That's when we decided to go in search of you. Does Gosberg know? We decided it among all of us in the Tripulia group, but we also all agreed that we had to be the complete group again. You were missing. And when the war ends? Agnoruk was very sharp. Rarely did an iron war last more than a year for better or worse, and then they would have 2 years of service to go. Something didn't fit the story. Arian smiled enigmatically as he drank some wine. It wasn't that easy to fool the half-orc. It remains to be specified, but we will surely have one last more Agnoruk mission. Then you can retire to live your days quietly in Vale Nevodo. What are you hiding from me? They knew something. Although they didn't want to tell him anything, the trio exchanged glances of complicity, but it was Arian who settled the matter. You'll know in due time. Let's first finish off Olbiana once and for all. They didn't talk about it anymore, and the evening ended with that conversation. They said goodbye. Agnoruk arrived at his chambers. One of the advantages of being a captain is that you were entitled to a single room. He lay heavily on the bed. He was not sleepy since he was more concerned with scolding himself than naive he was. Arian, Arras and Kush, probably Gosberg too, had planned everything. Something very important it must be. To consider that secret as the last farewell mission of the whole group. None of the three would tell him anything, and it was foolish to force things to know more about that last mission. Now he had to focus on the future war. Then he would see what fate would bring him. But he didn't have good feelings. They were the same ones that made him isolate himself in Vale Nevodo. Fulfilling his destiny would imply the misfortune of many. It was something he did not want to do and would not do, but he would end his life. I was fed up with so much suffering and senseless death. In any case, he had to follow Arian's plan and trust her to be able to live in peace for the rest of his days in Snowy Valley.